They'll never admit it, but they're watching you heal without them. Let's face it, no one likes to admit their mistakes, especially when it involves losing someone they once held dear. It's a tough pill to swallow, but they're watching you, and even though they won't say it, every step you take toward healing sends ripples across their own insecurities. They are paying attention, even if they refuse to show it. It's funny, isn't it? When we're in a relationship, we often focus on how things are affecting us, how we're dealing with the pain, the heartbreak, the struggle. But the moment we start to heal, we notice something changes. You start to feel lighter, stronger, more yourself. And that's when it hits them, the realization that you're doing just fine without them. The famous philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." While they might have thought they'd be the one to move on first, the truth is that you've reclaimed your time. They thought your healing would be slow, full of sorrow, but instead they're witnessing something they didn't expect, you thriving. The more you heal, the more they regret. They begin to realize that they were the ones who wasted time, their time with you. They may never admit it, but deep down, they're watching your every move. They know the posts you share. They notice the changes in you, even if it's just through a second-hand story or something they overhear from a mutual friend. They're aware of your growth, of how you've stepped into a new version of yourself that doesn't need them to be whole. And here's the thing. They don't know how to react. Think about it. They thought they had the upper hand when they left, when they walked away. They thought you'd fall apart, that you'd be lost without them. But Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, taught us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Your healing, your rise from the ashes, has become the very thing that challenges their perception of you, and more importantly, themselves. But here's where it gets even more interesting. When we start to heal without someone, we stop needing validation. We stop needing closure. We stop seeking permission to be happy. That's when they realize they've lost control. They can no longer reach in and pull you back to the old dynamic. You're too far gone in your transformation. As Oprah Winfrey once wisely said, "The more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate." Your healing is an act of celebration, not just of your life, but of your power. I promise you this, you're on a path they never expected. As you continue to heal, they will continue to watch from the sidelines, unsure of how to approach this new version of you. The more you grow, the more they'll struggle with their own guilt. And here's the truth. They are terrified, not just because they miss you, but because they never thought you could recover so quickly, so fully, without them. So, if you're wondering whether they notice, the answer is yes. They're watching, and it's only a matter of time before they realize that the person they thought they could walk away from is the one who learned to thrive without them. Your strength will be their lesson. Now stick with me until the end, because in the next part of this video, I'm going to reveal exactly how you can continue healing with power and purpose, and how this journey will change everything for you and for them. You don't want to miss this. If you've felt the shift in your own healing, if you're ready to step into your power, drop a comment below saying, I am reclaiming my peace. This simple mantra will remind you that your healing is your choice, and you are the one in control of your future. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video designed to help you grow stronger every day. Key point 1. They thought you'd fall apart, but they're watching you rise. When your ex first left, they likely had a specific expectation in mind. They thought you'd fall apart. In their mind, they may have convinced themselves that without them, your world would crumble. They expected you to drown in the sadness of the breakup, to endlessly question what went wrong, and to lose yourself in the emotional wreckage. But instead, something unexpected happened. You didn't break down, you began to rise. You might have felt pain, you may have cried, but you didn't let it define you. You got up. You took the first steps toward healing, and though they may have underestimated your strength, you proved them wrong. You found your footing in the aftermath of heartbreak, and instead of falling deeper into despair, you started building something even stronger. And they noticed. Maybe they saw you posting pictures of yourself with friends, showing your smile again, or engaging in new activities that they never thought you'd try. Maybe it was a quiet confidence you carried, a sense of peace that came with knowing you could survive and thrive without them. In those moments they were watching, surprised by the speed and strength of your recovery. What's important to understand here is that your ex was not prepared for this. They anticipated you would spiral emotionally, looking to them for closure or begging for validation. They thought they would be the one to walk away and move on with ease, while you stayed stuck in the past. But instead, you took control of your own narrative. And when you do this, you rob them of their power to affect your happiness. As you healed, you shifted into a version of yourself they never imagined. A version that didn't need them to feel whole. Your strength, resilience, and ability to adapt was the last thing they saw coming. It was like a silent challenge to their belief that they were indispensable to your happiness. You became living proof that you could flourish without them. And this, for them, is both a revelation and a stark reminder of what they lost. But here's the thing. This shift in power doesn't just affect your ex emotionally, it affects them psychologically. They've always believed that they held the keys to your emotional well-being. But when they watch you heal and move forward without them, they realize that you were never dependent on them in the way they thought. The very act of healing becomes a statement of independence. It's not about forgetting them, it's about finding your own strength, creating your own joy, and realizing that you were always capable of thriving, even in their absence. This is the moment where their confusion begins. They thought they were the catalyst of your happiness, the person who held your world together. But now, as they watch you thrive, they see that it was never about them. It was always about you. The ability to heal, to rise, to rebuild from the wreckage of the relationship is a power you've always possessed. And now that you're living it, they're forced to acknowledge that they never really knew who you were, and more importantly, they didn't understand the depth of your strength. This realization is exactly what makes them take notice and feel the weight of what they've lost. Key point 2. They can't ignore the emotional distance you've created. As you continue to heal, something powerful happens. You begin to create emotional distance. At first, your ex might have assumed that you would cling to the hope of reconciliation. They expected that in time, you would reach out, beg for closure, or pine for their attention. They thought that your feelings for them would somehow keep you anchored to the past, but that's not what happened. Instead, you slowly started to remove yourself emotionally. You stopped chasing after answers, stopped seeking validation from someone who could never give you the peace you needed. The more you focused on yourself, the more that emotional attachment to them started to fade. You found comfort and confidence in your own space, and as a result, you became less and less affected by their absence. In fact, the more you healed, the more emotionally distant you became. Not in a cold, detached way, but in a way that says, "I'm okay without you. I'm okay on my own." The independence you've reclaimed has become a source of power. The distance between you and your ex isn't just physical, it's emotional too. You've created a space where you no longer need them to feel complete or fulfilled, and that's exactly what they didn't anticipate. This emotional distance doesn't go unnoticed. Your ex can feel it, even if they don't acknowledge it openly. They start to realize that you're no longer waiting for them to come back, no longer trying to piece together what was broken between you two. They see that you've moved on, not just from the relationship, but from the emotional hold they had on you. This realization forces them to confront a harsh truth. They can't control you anymore. They're no longer the center of your universe, and they're not used to that. In many relationships, one person is often emotionally in charge. But when you pull away and stop waiting for validation or closure, they are left wondering what happened. Where did you go? Why aren't you emotionally reacting the way they expected? They begin to understand that the version of you they once knew is gone, and in its place is someone stronger, more self-assured, and far more independent. The emotional distance you've created is a wake-up call to your ex. They thought they were the one who had the upper hand when they walked away, but now they realize it's not the absence of your physical presence that hurts the most. It's the loss of the emotional connection that once tethered them to you. As your emotional strength grows, they're left to grapple with the consequences of their actions. And that's when the fear of losing you for good starts to sink in. As they watch from the sidelines, they can't help but feel a sense of loss. It's not just that you're healing without them, it's that you're thriving without them. They're no longer the central character in your story. Instead, you've taken control of your own narrative, and they can see it clearly now. The more emotionally distant you become, the more they realize how much they've lost and how little they can do to regain what they once had. Key point 3. They realize they've lost control over you. One of the hardest things for an ex to face is the realization that they no longer have control over you. When a relationship ends, especially if it's an avoidant or emotionally distant partner, they often expect the aftermath to unfold on their terms. They think they will still have the power to reach back into your life when they're ready, to reel you back in with a few well-timed words or actions. But as you heal and reclaim your independence, they quickly realize that the dynamic has shifted in a way they never expected. At first, they probably assumed that you would be waiting for them, that you would be stuck in the past, constantly hoping for their return. They imagined that if they ever decided to come back, they would find you emotionally vulnerable, maybe even desperate to reconcile. But you didn't wait, you didn't fall apart, and you didn't give them the reaction they thought they'd get. Instead, you started living your life on your own terms, taking control of your own happiness and healing. This change is unsettling for them. The moment they see that you're no longer looking to them for closure or validation, They feel the power slip through their fingers. They start to realize they no longer have that emotional influence over you. That is a blow to their ego. For so long, they've been the center of your emotional world. But now, you've removed them from that space. The emotional leash they once held is gone, and with it, the ability to control your thoughts, actions, and feelings. As much as they might try to deny it, they can feel the distance. They can feel that you're no longer seeking their approval or trying to get them back into your life. They can sense that the connection they thought they still had with you is fading. And this loss of control can be terrifying for them. It's a reminder that they no longer have the ability to pull the strings of your emotions the way they once did. They might try to regain that control by reaching out, perhaps in the form of a casual message, an apology, or a desperate attempt to rekindle the connection. But when you don't respond the way they expect, or when you show no signs of needing them back, they face a harsh truth. They no longer have a hold on you. That emotional manipulation or power dynamic they relied on is gone. This realization often leads them to reconsider their own actions. They start to wonder if they've made a huge mistake in letting you go. They may even start second-guessing the reasons they left in the first place. But it's too late. The moment you took control of your healing, your growth, and your future, you took back your power. And no matter how much they may want to re-enter your life, they'll never have the same influence over you that they once did. Now, as they observe you moving forward, they can only sit back and watch you thrive. The more you continue to rise and heal, the more they realize that they no longer hold the keys to your emotional world. It's a humbling moment for them, one that forces them to reckon with their own choices and understand that the person they took for granted is now unshakably strong, independent, and fully in control of their own destiny. Key point 4. They begin to feel the weight of their mistake. As your ex watches you heal and grow stronger, they will inevitably start to feel the weight of their mistake. In the beginning, they may have felt certain about their decision, thinking they were making the right choice by walking away. They might have convinced themselves that leaving was what was best for both of you, or that they would be better off without you. But as they observe your transformation, the cracks in their reasoning start to show. They begin to regret their actions. The change in you, how you're reclaiming your life, your happiness, and your peace, acts like a mirror to them. Every step you take toward healing is a reminder that you didn't need them to be whole. The emotional growth and resilience you're showing become a stark contrast to the version of you they left behind. They begin to realize that they might have thrown away something precious, and that your ability to heal without them is a painful reflection of what they lost. They start questioning their decision. What if I made a mistake? What if I could have worked things out? Why does it feel like I've lost something irreplaceable? These are the types of thoughts that begin to creep into their mind. They can no longer ignore the fact that you are thriving, and the more they see that, the more they begin to realize that they may never get another chance to have you in their life the way they once did. This sense of regret is often accompanied by fear of losing you forever. The more you heal, the more emotionally distant you become, and this distance becomes a glaring reminder that their actions have consequences. They thought they could leave, come back, and pick things up where they left off. But the longer you move forward without them, the more they realize that their absence in your life may not be temporary. You are no longer waiting, no longer pining for them, and that sends a powerful message they can't ignore. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Your why, the reason for your healing and your growth, is your own. It's not dependent on them, nor is it tethered to their return. The more you embrace this journey of healing, the more they come to understand that you're living for yourself, not for them or anyone else. The realization that they were once the center of your world, and now they are just a distant memory, can be deeply painful for them. But here's the thing, they might never admit it. They may never openly express their regret to you or take responsibility for their mistake. Instead, their feelings of guilt will silently gnaw at them. They will continue to watch you from the sidelines, secretly wishing they had made different choices. The weight of their decision will become heavier the more they see you moving on, knowing deep down that they may have lost something irreplaceable and that it might be too late to fix it. Eventually, this regret will reach a tipping point. They will either come to terms with the fact that you've moved on, or they will gather the courage to reach out. Either way, the impact of your healing will stay with them. Whether they act on it or not, they will forever carry the memory of how you healed without them, how you found your strength again, and how they were the ones who let you go. Key point 5. They'll wonder if you've moved on completely. As time passes and you continue to heal, your ex will eventually find themselves asking a very difficult question. Have they moved on completely? In the beginning, they may have told themselves that they would never get to this point, that you would always be emotionally tied to them, even if it was just a little bit. But as you grow, as you reclaim your life and your peace, they start to wonder if they've lost you for good. At first, they may have assumed that your healing would be slow, that you'd be wallowing in sorrow, wishing for the return of the relationship. They imagined that with enough time, they could swoop back in and offer you something, whether it was an apology, an explanation, or just a sense of familiarity. But what they didn't expect was the strength and resilience you would show. They didn't anticipate that you would heal so thoroughly, so completely without them. Now, as they watch you continue to grow, pursue new goals, and fill your life with people who care about you, they can't help but wonder, have you already moved on? And the answer is painfully obvious to them. They see it in the way you carry yourself, in the way you talk about your life, and in the fact that you're no longer waiting for them to come back. You're living, you're thriving. And for them, that's a stark realization. Their doubt starts to creep in. They wonder if you've met someone new. They wonder if you're happier without them, if you've found fulfillment in a way they could never provide. This is a hard pill for them to swallow, especially if they've always seen themselves as the one who held the key to your happiness. The idea that you're moving on without them is a fear that challenges everything they thought they knew about your relationship. In the back of their mind, they might try to rationalize things by telling themselves that you were always strong, that you were always independent, and that they weren't the reason you were able to heal. But deep down, they know the truth. You've done it without them. You didn't need them to complete you, to make you happy, or to heal. This realization is a painful blow to their ego. The person they once believed they could walk away from and return to whenever they wanted is now someone else, someone they don't have control over anymore. This is when the regret starts to shift from a passive feeling into an active one. They start to ask themselves, what if it's too late? What if they really have moved on for good? They know that reaching out now may not be enough. The emotional connection they once had with you has faded. Your world no longer revolves around them, and that stings in ways they didn't expect. They may even feel the pull to reach out, but are paralyzed by the fear that their efforts will be met with indifference, or worse, rejection. This is the point when they have to face the harsh reality. You have started to live without them, and that living is not dependent on their return. Your strength and your healing are now proof that your happiness doesn't need to be tied to their presence. This leaves them questioning themselves and wondering if they missed their chance for a future with you. They can no longer assume that things will go back to how they were, because the person you are today is not the same one they walked away from. And deep down, they're starting to understand that you may never need them in the way they thought you once did. A key point 6. They'll begin to feel jealous of your growth and independence. As you continue to heal, move forward, and embrace a life that doesn't revolve around them, your ex will start to feel something they might not have anticipated: jealousy. This feeling is not just about you moving on with someone else, although that could play a part. It's deeper than that. They're jealous of your growth, your independence, and your ability to thrive without their presence in your life. When they left, they probably thought they were the one with the power. They believed that if they walked away, you would be left struggling, clinging to the past, waiting for them to return. But as they watch you evolve into a stronger, more independent version of yourself, they begin to feel the sting of their own insecurity. Their ego is bruised, not because they miss you, at least not entirely, but because they realize you don't need them in the way they once assumed you did. The philosopher Rainer Maria Rilke once said, "The only journey is the one within." As you embark on your own journey of self-discovery and healing, your ex starts to see that you're becoming someone who doesn't need external validation. Not from them, not from anyone. You are self-sufficient, emotionally stable, and thriving. And this scares them because it reveals a painful truth. They no longer have a place at the center of your world. You're doing just fine without them. They begin to notice how you've filled your life with new experiences, new relationships, and new opportunities. Maybe you've taken up a new hobby, traveled to places they never thought you'd go, or become more confident in your career or personal life. Each of these steps forward is a reminder to your ex that you are moving on, without needing them to be a part of it. The life you're building now is not just an absence of them. It's a vibrant, flourishing reality in which they don't play a role. At first, they might try to mask their jealousy or dismiss it as something temporary. But as time goes on, they'll realize how much harder it is for them to ignore. They're left feeling inadequate, wondering why they didn't recognize your potential before. They missed out on being part of your growth. And now that they see it happening without them, the reality sets in that their place in your life has been replaced by your own personal empowerment. This jealousy will likely prompt them to reflect on their actions. They may question if they've missed their chance to be part of the beautiful future you're now building. They might feel resentful of how easy it seems for you to flourish without them. In this moment, they may even consider reaching out, not just because they miss you, but because they want to be part of the success and happiness you've created. They want to claim a role in a life they no longer have access to, and that realization makes them desperate. However, here's the thing. Jealousy is rooted in insecurity, and insecurity often comes from a place of needing validation. What they fail to realize is that you no longer need them to validate your growth. You've already built a life for yourself, one that is rich with potential and happiness, with or without them. And the more they see you thriving, the more they'll understand just how much they've missed by walking away in the first place. As you continue to live fully in your newfound independence, they'll have to face the reality that you don't need them. And that might be one of the hardest lessons for them to swallow. Key point 7. They realize they've lost the opportunity to be a part of your future. As your ex watches you heal and thrive, one of the most painful realizations they'll eventually come to is that they've lost the opportunity to be a part of your future. When a relationship ends, there's often the hope, whether stated or unspoken, that time apart will lead to growth and the possibility of reconciliation. Your ex might have thought that after you've had enough time to heal, they could waltz back into your life and resume where things left off. But as they observe you moving forward, it becomes evident that you've already moved on in ways they never anticipated. At first, they might have believed they could keep the option of reconciliation open, keeping you emotionally tethered through lingering thoughts, the occasional contact, or their desire for you to wait. But as time goes on and you continue to flourish without them, they realize they are no longer an option in your future. You've started making plans, setting goals, and living a life that doesn't include them. The life you're building is no longer one where they have a place. It's one where you are the architect of your own destiny. As you grow, you start to see opportunities and paths that they never considered for you. You begin to envision a future that isn't filled with their presence, and it's a future that feels richer, freer, and more exciting without them. Whether it's personal goals, professional aspirations, or simply a newfound sense of self, you are forging a future on your own terms. This realization that you're no longer holding a space for them can be devastating for someone who assumed they'd always have a place in your life, especially if they thought they'd be able to just walk back into it when they were ready. Your ex is now faced with the painful truth that they can't go back and start over. They've lost the opportunity to be part of the beautiful future you're creating, and they know it's their own doing. They start to realize that their absence from your life is permanent, not because you're angry or bitter, but because you've already made the decision to move forward without them. As you continue to heal, they can see that your future is no longer tied to them. It's tied to the person you're becoming, the new version of yourself who is stronger, more independent, and more fulfilled than they ever imagined. In this moment, your ex will feel a deep sense of regret and loss. They'll look at the future they thought they could share with you and realize it's slipping away, not because you don't care about them, but because you no longer need them to complete your life. They've missed their chance to be part of your journey, and the emotional weight of that truth can be suffocating. They may try to hold on to the hope that there's still time to repair the past, but in the back of their mind, they know that time has run out. This is when the true gravity of the situation hits them. They will understand that they weren't the one who got to choose when they walked away. You are the one who now gets to choose who stays in your life. And when they see the bright future you are building without them, they realize that they may never get the chance to be a part of it again. Ultimately, their realization is bittersweet. They're forced to confront the reality that they left something truly special behind, and no matter how much they may want to come back, they can't undo the past. The future you're building is now solely in your hands, and they'll have to accept that they no longer have a place in it. This moment is a true turning point, not just for your ex, but for you as well. It marks the end of their influence over your life and the beginning of a future where you are the one in control. And there you have it. The powerful, undeniable truth. They're watching you heal, and deep down, they know they've lost something they'll never be able to reclaim. Your journey of healing, growth, and independence is not just about moving on from the past. It's about stepping into a future where you are the one in control. They may not admit it, but they feel the weight of their decisions every time they see you thriving, getting stronger, and embracing the life you deserve. Now, let me ask you, how does it feel to know that your strength is making them question everything they thought they knew about you? Every step you take in your healing is a reminder that you are more than enough, with or without them. You're not just surviving, you're flourishing, and they can't take that away from you. As you continue this journey, remember this. Your power comes from your ability to move forward, to grow, and to never allow anyone to define your worth. They may regret walking away, but you've already proven that you don't need them to be whole. If you found this video helpful and empowering, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the content that will keep you on the path to becoming your best self. And leave a comment below with your thoughts. I am my own power. This simple mantra will remind you and others that you are the one in control of your own future. Stay strong, keep healing, and remember, your happiness and growth will always be your greatest victory. I'll see you in the next video, where we continue to explore how to reclaim your life, your peace, and your power.